This is the Sarasota Technology User Group for Wednesday, May 4th, 2022. I'm Huey Poplock. At the end of the meeting, there'll be a drawing for a one-year membership renewal. You must be a STUG member to be renewed, and you must be online and in the meeting at the drawing time. That'll be at the end of the meeting. Classes are limited to current STUG members only unless otherwise noted. The STUG Help Desk is scheduled for the third Wednesday of every month. Do you have a technology question to ask our tech-savvy people? Maybe you would rather just sit and learn by listening to others. The next meeting is May 18th from 4 to 5:15. Sign up at the link that you see here, and that should be in the emails that you receive for being a member. To register for the STUG workshops, there are two methods depending upon the teacher. You either send them an email or click a link provided by them. Don't forget the Tech for Seniors, hosted by myself and Ron Brown every Monday from 11:30 to 1:15 Eastern time. We're on Zoom and we stream on YouTube. Features resident experts Bob G., Ray Baxter, Dewey Cluse, and Bill James. STUG members are invited to attend this action-packed hour. We've been doing it now for 109 weeks in a row. Typical topics discussed: Windows 10, Apple computers, Chromebooks, cutting the cord, security, purchase considerations, modems and routers, Starlink, Android and iPhones, and much, much more. Tech for Seniors Live is another program that we do on Thursdays, hosted by myself and Ron Brown with Bob G. and Bill James, and occasionally Ray Baxter. It's Thursday, log in about 11:50 Eastern time. We start at noon. We talk for 1 hour, and a lot of it, and it's only on YouTube, on the YouTube channel for Tech for Seniors, and on the Facebook group for Tech for Seniors. It is not on Zoom. We do record it and play it on YouTube if you missed the meeting. Everyone's invited. No login is necessary, and you can ask questions via the chat. The WinSig, this Windows Special Interest Group, hosted by me every second Sunday from starting at 1:30. We open the doors at 1 o'clock. Items that we talk about are Windows 10, Windows 11, Windows tips and tricks, and some generalized computer things. Sign up for the newsletter and link for the topics to be discussed at huey.net. Don't forget the STUG website, the STUG Monitor, our newsletter, monthly newsletter. Don't forget the STUG YouTube channel, our Facebook page, the Groups IO, which is a place where you can ask questions via email and get answers via email. Here's your STUG Board of Directors for this year. And we'll introduce our speaker.
Good evening, everybody. It is my great pleasure to introduce to you tonight Heather Gorman. She plays many roles within the Sarasota County Libraries. She manages the digital resources available to both staff and patrons, including the library app, the catalog, the library catalog, the library website, and the databases. She also manages the media outlets for the libraries and historical resources. Heather has also led a team of staff to develop and implement Tech Navigators. It's a pilot program that allows the staff to assist patrons individually with their devices and laptop questions. Tonight, Heather will provide for us lots of information about assistive technology services. Libraries are not what they used to be, so listen carefully to everything she is about to tell us. It gives me great pleasure to give a warm welcome to Heather Gorman. Welcome, Heather.
Thank you guys very much for that. It's a wonderful introduction. And as Anne said, it is a wide role that I have. I have a diverse set of skills that I offer up to the libraries. So today I wanted to share with you a bit of what the library does have to offer. So I'm going to share my screen. I see the screen flickered on a couple of the folks there, so I'm assuming you all saw it. So the library libraries and technology is not a new concept. This is something that we've had in our locations for a very long time. So what I'm going to share probably isn't new news to everyone, but nonetheless, I wanted to cover physical technology in the library locations. So what digital technologies are, so as opposed to the physical, and I'm going to break that down, and some trends that are occurring in libraries that might be beneficial in the future, or depending on how you look at it, might be detrimental. So what is digital services? I want to talk a little bit about what I do and what that means. So digital services is a new concept even to me taking this job. And it's taken some time to form it, to understand, okay, what's the library's role when it comes to visiting the website and social media. So when you stop by a social media post, why is it important? That's a digital means at which you're accessing the library. So to me, I'm focused on the user's experience. So I don't know if you guys have heard the term user interface or user experience when visiting websites and apps. That's my primary focus. What is it like for you when you visit social media? What's it like for you when you visit the website and our databases? Now, the other part of that is digital literacy, and this group is perfect for that. So you guys experience this all the time when you're meeting with your customers or with your friends and just trying to discover what the features are that are coming out on the new app update, or the new phones that are coming out, or the new laptops, how to connect my printer to my computer wirelessly now. So that's a form of digital literacy, like learning how to do that. And then the other part, as I've mentioned, social media. So branding and marketing. I manage for the library and historical resources, our customers, our patrons, understanding of what libraries and historical resources has to offer. So all of this, again, by digital means. I know this is really tiny, but I wanted to illustrate technology by no means is new for the libraries. So the first library was the 7th century. I'm sure you all know this, but over the years, it's really stepped up. So I would say from when I was in graduate school in 2011, the first library makerspace was coming out, and it was a totally new concept. And now in our libraries in Sarasota County, each library location now has a creation station, a makerspace. So that's not very long time to really catapult into using technology creatively. So as I mentioned, there's physical technology in the libraries, which I'm going to go over in detail. I don't know if any of you use the book drop here at Fruitville or any of the library locations. It has a little opening and you feed the library book inside of it, and it just kind of magically disappears. And you're like, oh, great, it's off my account. But inside the back end of the libraries, there's a conveyor belt with magnets, with sensors and buckets that it's automatically sorted and put away into a certain bin for a certain section of the library. So it saves so much time and energy for staff that's our AMH. It's called Automated Materials Handling System. We also have hotspots, assistive technology, and I mentioned our creation stations or our makerspaces. So I wanted to share with you a fun little video of an automated materials handling system that we took a couple of years ago after its brand spanking new install. So take a look. There's not going to be any sound, so I'm going to narrate for you. So this was the truck that it was delivered on. And it was an all-day project for staff to unload the truck and bring it into the library location. So this is it. It's coming in on the pallets like that, upright. And then it took a whole team of folks to install it. So you can see that this equipment, it needed to be shipped in its upright position and not moved. So you can imagine how delicate it is until it's installed. So let me hop back really quick. Let's see. Here we go. So this is it in its complete form. So you notice that we're not putting it into the book drop, and I don't recommend you put stuffed animals in our book drop. Please don't do that. But the conveyor belt is sensing an object and running it and pausing it and shaking it. So that way the pile disperses. So it's using sensors to figure out what the object is. But it was fun. We figured it would just be a silly way to introduce the AMH to everyone. But yeah, the stuffies went for a ride. Some of the pieces got stuck, but this never made it to publishing because for obvious reasons, it's not very polished, but it was enough to say like, this is really amazing. So I want to pause here and see if you have any questions just about this AMH before I flip back to the presentation. Any questions about it? So my supervisor, Andrea Taylor, is the library's technology coordinator. And every couple of years, every 4 years, we develop a technology plan with a committee. And she's the one that purchases all of the material like that. So the AMH for all 10 locations, or I'm sorry, 9 locations. Osprey is too small to have one. But I want to pass this tech plan around so you can just get a sense of the scope of our projects that we undertake. I think it would be valuable for you all to see that. And after the presentation's over, I can send the documents over for folks in Zoom. So let me come back to the presentation. So next, we, in terms of equipment, have something kind of new. We've had this for about a year, is hotspots. And right now we have about 150, and they are always checked out and have holds. They're so incredibly popular with everyone. I think especially those folks who do not have access to internet at home. And so there's quite a number of folks who just don't have internet at home. And so this is a valuable resource for them to have. It's a 2-week-long lending period, and it provides cellular service. So we offer not just CoolPad, but a couple other brands because, believe it or not, cellular service on certain devices don't work in like Northport. So you'd have to really sort of figure these things out ahead of time. And this is what Andrea, my supervisor, is an expert at. So she really kicked off this whole campaign of having access via hotspots. And it's really been a smashing success. So assistive technology is another item, again, that my supervisor spearheaded along with a couple of other members of the library. It's really important that we make the libraries accessible for everyone. So if you have low vision needs, we have a variety of tools at every library location. You just have to go up to a service desk and ask. And so I'm going to share with you this is a great video that we did. I don't know if there's music on this one. You all hear the music?
No.
The portable magnification.
So this is let's see if I get a better image of it. So this is a portable device that you can hold up to any object, whether it's a page or the shelf, as Alicia is doing, to scan the call numbers or the titles on the side. So that's one of the items that we have. And she's using it here to scan the page to be able to read it. Here's a good demo of it also. So it helps if the newsprint is too small. Here's another one that does something similar. However, this one reads it out loud to you. This, again, you'll probably find this around the low vision computer out in the libraries. They usually sit next to each other. The low vision computer has a very large keyboard, and it's a colorful keyboard, so there's some contrast. But this you can place as they've done a comic book or a book underneath, and it really enlarge it on the screen for you. It'll also change the contrast to be black and white rather than color. It can also read each word out loud to you. So it's really helpful for those who maybe have complete vision impairment. We also, I think in this video, demonstrated that our website is ADA compliant, and you can use the low vision computer to navigate through our website and our catalog by adjusting the contrast level, the lexical. I know for those who have dyslexia, they need to have a certain kind of font, so we adjust that too. Here's a Braille keyboard, and so you can read and write in Braille. Again, the low vision computer. We have hearing loops in most, if not all, of our library locations. So that way, if you have a hearing aid that can hook up to our system via Bluetooth, you can hear my presentation with a mic easier. I love this. My mom has it, and she said it's been really great in work meetings. So again, we wanted to highlight some offerings through the Talking Book Library. So those who are interested and can apply for the Talking Book Library can find the materials at the library, and the staff will help you get that process going. I believe this is an example of a talking book that'll be sent to you. So it's got very big buttons and easy to read and to feel for. And it'll be delivered to you right to your mailbox. Let's see. I think they're demonstrating how you can adjust the font sizes inside of our apps. So Cloud Library, Hoopla, you can adjust the font size in each one of those applications. We also have newspapers that you can access through, whether it be Newsbank, Press Reader, Flipster. They all offer the same ability to adjust the font. We also offer large print, which is what I think this is a demonstration of. So they're reshelving some large print there. So yeah, and that's Sharon saying, thanks for coming to the library. So are there any questions about that? Yeah.
Could you go over again how to obtain the talking library books?
There's an application process that you have to go through. So my recommendation would be to come into the library and talk to someone at the service desk, or you can call Info Central. So their number is 941-861-1110, and they'll walk you through the process too. But there was a question in the room, what about translation? So are our materials translated? And I can say for certain that we offer titles in our ebook databases, whether it be Cloud Library, Hoopla, in multiple languages. But I just found out that in Press Reader, so it's one of our newer apps, and it's for news and magazines, they have multiple upon multiple languages and country publications. So that would be a great resource if you're looking for something in other languages. But as far as a translation service, I don't think we have a specific service you can say, here, I have a document that I need translated into another language. We don't have something of that nature yet. The device wouldn't provide that. Yeah. I mean, Google Translate isn't a bad source. It's not absolutely reliable. I mean, if you're using it for legal documents or things of strong, you need like really strong certainty, I wouldn't rely on that, but that would be an option. But are there other questions? Yes. That's a great question. I'm glad. Okay. So the question was, do you have YouTube videos that walk you through how to use some of these databases, right? Or some of these services. And we do. We have what's called Niche Academy on my end. And you'll find that on the website. And actually, do you mind if I show you? Okay. My goodness, there's a lot of windows. Okay. Oh, another piece of exciting news. The library is getting a new website.
So now I want to talk about some physical, or continue talking about some physical technology in the library. So I mentioned makerspaces. We call them creation stations. So they have a variety of items in there, like 3D printers and Cricut, cutters and covers. It's like a printer, but it'll actually etch out or even print on objects, which is pretty cool. Glowforge, which is a laser cutter, so you can laser cut into metal or wood. We have computer softwares, things of that nature, that you can build video games. I'm sure you've heard of Minecraft and things like that. Was it Minecraft? Things of that nature. You can make music videos, you can record, make videos, all kinds of stuff. And not only is it a sort of self-driven, self-learning process, but we want to encourage people to also consider building small businesses and prototyping items in the creation station. So that way you don't have to foot the bill having to buy a 3D printer or ask someone to 3D print it for you to see if it works. We want to encourage business owners and people considering maybe building or manufacturing objects to come explore the software and figure out how to do it with us, because that's why we're here. The other half of creation stations, so I consider creation stations some kind of I call it the hard technology, the hard science of it, where it's the 3D printers and the hardware, that kind of thing. And then there's sort of what I call the personal development. One second. And then, so that's sewing machines, knitting, fiber arts, and, drawing classes. So we want to encourage creativity in these spaces. So yeah, so you had a question?
Where is it located?
Each library is either in the development of getting a creation station. So here at Fruitville, they have to build a space to accommodate it. So we haven't quite gotten there yet, but they do have creation station like programs. But Selby Library is an example. Betty J. Johnson, Gulfgate is also in the process of getting a creation station dedicated space. So your closest to this location would probably be Selby and Betty J. Johnson.
Oh, Venice.
Venice, absolutely, they have one. Yep, they have a creation station. Yes.
Can you develop something on your system? Can you print it over at Fab Lab on the 3D printer?
Yeah, the question was, if you develop something at home, can you bring it into creation stations to print it, right? Yes, we have programs like that where you can use Tinkercad. That's a free 3D printer software that you can open up an account and play around, get to know it, and then send a file in. But I would coordinate with your librarian first. Talk to the staff there before you go sending print jobs in, because they may want to take a look at it and make sure it's structurally sound, because the material is not cheap. So they might just want to check that. But another element to creation stations, which may go without saying, is that it's science-based. So your tweens and teens, they're doing these kind of things in school, but it might be theory-based. Their school may not have a creation station with a 3D printer. So they might want to come and explore some of these concepts. So robotics, circuitry, coding, some science-based items, engineering, and mathematics. So these are all STEAM and STEM themes. So I want to emphasize that library workers make technology more accessible for every person, every age in our communities, including students job seekers, and the millions of Americans who still lack broadband access and skills. So I mentioned earlier the hotspots, and I was recently in a meeting with Digital Access for All. So the county is looking to find a way to expand or help support broadband access for everyone across the county that needs it. So I don't know has anyone heard of Digital Access for All? Okay, I want to talk to you after this to see how we can collaborate. Great, yeah, that's what I heard. So I'm glad that I'm here and I can make a connection with you all. But the reason I want to bring it up is because libraries are like the great community center. They kind of bring all sorts of people together. So I think we have a unique opportunity to tap into and be able to listen to the community and find out what their needs are ahead of this launch. So to go on to talk about the digital technologies in the library. So I mentioned earlier at the top of the presentation, digital services. So again, this goes back to what our library is offering in the digital realm. So our apps, databases, website, and digital literacy. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about the pilot program, Tech Navigator. Okay, I mentioned the website, apps, social media, tutorials, and Tech Navigator. So before I hop into the future, I want to pass around this toolkit that I developed with the Tech Navigator committee. So this Tech Navigator service was something in development for about 6 to 9 months. Because of the great resignation, we had a couple of folks leave the committee, so it took a little bit longer. But right now, we're getting ready to bring on all 10 library locations. So right now, we have 4 to 5 library locations already. And what these folks do, they have one-on-one sessions, sit-down appointments with folks who have questions about their device, about a service the library offers, about their computer. So it's similar to what this group already does, and it's similar to what libraries was already doing. But all we did for this service was formalize it. So we said, you know, you can come in to the service desk and certainly ask a question. No doubt, we don't want to discourage that. However, if your question is more involved, we want to have a sit down with you. We want to have like a really dedicated one-on-one session to get to the issue that you're struggling with. So because we changed the service model and made it consistent, customers or patrons are having a better experience and they're walking out of the appointment really learning how to use their device. So I'm going to pass this around. This toolkit really offers a way for staff to be able to identify the patron's needs, set up the appointment. If they can't help the patron, what do they do? What are some resources that we can share with the patron? Like, you know, more and more cybersecurity issues are coming up. So what advice can we offer them? So that's in there. But like I said, it's in its pilot phase. We're still collecting data to find out how we can pivot the service and make it better. So I'm going to pause here for now to see if you guys have any questions about Tech Navigator. But I also have a question for you. So I'll wait to hear about any questions that might come through. Yes. Patterson. Yeah. So the question was, are we related to the digital navigator service offered by the Patterson Foundation, who's also helping support digital access for all? To answer that question, we are inspired by what they're doing, but we're really taking what we're already doing in libraries and putting a formal name and branding it. We're saying we offer tech support or tech help for you at all of our locations, or that's our aspiration. So, so yes and no. The matrix for the digital navigator? I'm not sure what you mean.
They were putting together a matrix of all the services.
Right.
we're supposed to be on that.
Okay.
But I've never seen the matrix, and I missed the last one. I agree with that.
Oh, no. Okay. All right. The question was related to digital access for all and what the organizational structure is and how that's moving forward.
It's like a true matrix. Spreadsheet.
Oh,
All the services. And I don't know if they've actually published.
You know, I'm not sure. In my files, I have what is it, the FOD published. I have to talk to you after this because I want you to come to the meetings. If you're interested, if STUG's interested in participating in digital access for all, I've got a great committee that you can be a part of. Okay. So are there any other questions about Tech Navigator or any of the digital services, the stuff you access online or our website?
Question.
Yeah.
Will Tech Navigator in its tutorials teach things like Audacity or Shotcut or stuff like that?
Oh, that's interesting. At this time, we've been keeping it very where the patron reaches out to us with their question and we see if we can answer it. So the process is patron fills out a form online or lets a staff member know and we fill it out for them. Our tech navigators call them, the patron, and say, we saw your submission. What would you like help with? Oh, I see it's about downloading ebooks. We haven't gotten anything very specific or higher tech yet, but we're definitely open to it. I have been in discussions with the library locations that if they do see a need for something specific, like a Word 101 class, that I want to encourage them to schedule regularly Word 101 classes. And so theoretically, we could schedule a tutorial if the staff member knew or had a partner in the community who wanted to teach that. So I hope that answers your question.
Heather, I have two questions.
Yeah.
The first one is with the 3D printers, you allow people to design whatever they're going to design and then print them. Is there a cost for the materials for somebody to do that?
Not to the patron. The patron would incur no cost. None of our programs cost any money. And like I said, as you start to look at creation stations and are interested in attending a class, that would be my recommendation. Start with like a 3D printing, intro to 3D printing or intro to Cricut or Glowforge. Just go make that relationship with the staff and then explore sending print jobs to the creation station.
Okay, my second question is a lot of library systems subscribe to it's called LinkedIn training or instructions, I think it's called. It used to be lynda.com, and I searched your website and didn't see that you have that.
We don't have that.
Now Manatee County does. Is there a relationship between you that?
A reciprocal, yeah. To my knowledge, that Manatee patrons cannot borrow our digital material, and I think it's vice versa too, where we could go into a Manatee library and borrow a physical material from their library locations, but not digital. So I think the same would hold true with databases.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'll let my supervisor know that you're interested in lynda.com and having that resource.
Their videos are excellent.
Yeah, I know. That's a great question. Are there any other questions? So here comes the juicy part, which is the future of technology. So this is where I love to dream and to think about this kind of thing and see where the boundaries are, or breaking out of the boundaries. So we're going to talk about book lockers, which is something that we're exploring for our system. I'm also going to touch on cybersecurity and the importance of having your mind think about that. Some ethics and some robots maybe happening in the library. Just some initial thoughts. So as I said before, access to our libraries is key. So when we approach technology, we want to make sure that it's accessible for everyone, but also that it broadens the access for everyone. So that's where something like book lockers comes in. So not everyone can make it to a library during hours. I know for me, it's really difficult for me to even get to the grocery store after work because it's a lot of traffic. I get out late. It's just too much. So that's one option. So we would open up maybe a vestibule area in our locations where there's lockers that people can pick up their holds in. There's also the possibility of having vending machines. So you could borrow a DVD or a paperback book for the weekend, after hours or before hours. We can also have off-site access. So either these vending machines or book lockers can be somewhere on Longboat Key where they don't really have access to a library location, or in Mayaca. I think it's really important to increase your awareness of cybersecurity and business requirements. So I don't know if you've noticed that businesses are now saying, I'm going to collect cookies from you, and so you want to know who all has my information out there in the world. So just being mindful of where all of your accounts are throughout the internet, and making sure you change or disable some of those accounts if you're not using them, just because technology changes at such a rapid clip that these businesses really can't keep up with how hackers are getting into their content. So just be mindful of that. And this is one of my favorite subjects, is ethics in technology. So I recently was given a Oculus for Christmas. Don't ask. Like I said, this is a lot of technology for me. And so I wanted to be really mindful about when I had it on. I don't know if any of you have used an Oculus at all. So yeah, we've got one hand raised. And so it's an interesting experience, but in order to give you that virtual reality experience, it has cameras on the outside of it that look out into the space. And on the surface of things, that's okay because, listen, we've got cameras on our phones everywhere. And I just thought to myself, wow, okay, so I'm going to sit here with this on in my house, and it's going to record my house, and it's going to record my husband and my dog. And so it got me thinking about, all right, so we got this object, this technology in the house, recording my every move and listening to everything I do. So I think there's going to be a point in time where we all sort of stop and say, that's enough. You've got enough information about me. Let's reel this back a little bit. And this is where libraries have really held that ground for many, many years. Short of a subpoena from a police officer or a court, we do not give up your records. For under no circumstance do we let them know who you are or that you even come to the library. So it's really important to libraries that we maintain that ethical boundary. And I always thought this was really cool. I don't know if any of you have seen a robot in a grocery store yet. I have. In New York, which is where I'm from. I would go in for my snack on my lunch hour, and it scared me to look around the corner and see this robot just coming around, checking the shelves. And I was like, well, okay. However, thinking about libraries, I thought, well, that would be really convenient if they went around and scanned the shelves to find books that weren't checked in correctly, or pulled books for you, or something like that. So again, thinking about that ethical boundary, but also how can it really help us if we put the correct boundaries on there? So it's really interesting, and I would love to discuss more with you all. However, if you have further questions, I would love to answer those, or if we just want to discuss. I have my cards here if you all want to take a card, if you think of something later.
I would suggest anybody online, if you're interested, just do a screen capture or jot down real quickly the information that's on the screen.
Thanks. We have a question here. Okay, the question was, do we help the visually impaired set up their computers at home? And that question hasn't come across my desk yet. But this is the question I wanted to pose to STUG. Since I'm starting out with this Tech Navigator program, pilot program, we want to expand it out eventually to include volunteers and volunteers who are tech savvy and love to answer these kind of questions. So I'm hoping I can pose to this group to please get in touch with me. Should you be interested in hosting or helping support this Tech Navigator service, whether that be over Zoom or in the library locations, we would be really grateful to collaborate.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Heather, to backtrack a little bit, you showed the Oculus headgear. Is that something you have in any of the libraries?
Oh, yes. Yes, of course. We have them in our creation stations. Yep. So the Oculus program is typically geared towards teens and tweens, and they have like a video game night. So they all sort of take turns and they'll hook up to a big screen and broadcast what they're playing for the rest of the folks while they wait. But yep, we do. Yeah. Bill said it's cool.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
We have free internet at the library, but if the library is closed, could you pull the parking lot?
Yeah, so the question was, well, it was a comment first about having Wi-Fi in the building, and then after hours, is the Wi-Fi available after hours? And I'm glad that you asked that, because in Digital Access for All, those meetings, we've been discussing access points for Wi-Fi. We do, and especially during the pandemic, did continue to offer Wi-Fi sort of out of building. So that way folks could come, you know, place phone calls or do meetings or homework. So we continue to offer access close to the building. However, there are spaces outside the building that you can't just like sit against the building and hang out, because the cops will come by and say, hey, because it's just a security issue. But there is certain places, and we do plan to extend it out so you can be able to, for example, sit in your car and have a phone call or do some work. So yeah, that is in the works.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Heather, some comments and questions from the chat box.
Yeah.
Marcia says, I'm so excited about the creation stations. Thank you for a great informative session. It says, I'm between 70 and 80. Can I use them too?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, it's for everybody. The creation stations are, while on the surface can seem like they're for younger, you know, school age children, these programs and these services are open for all ages.
Okay, and Vincenta says, thank you, very informative. And Joseph says, how's the transition from Overdrive to cloud/library going?
It was bumpy, if I'm going to be totally honest. We're grateful that we were able to transition in the way that we did with a lot of time. Overdrive, while offering a really great interface, didn't offer as much, or doesn't offer as much as Cloud Library does. Ironically, Cloud Library, we're able to work through a consortium. So whereas Overdrive, you had to buy, and Overdrive even stipulated, well, you get 3 reads and then you have to buy it again. So with Cloud Library and being a part of the consortium, we have access to so much more because we sort of have a stronger buying power because we're part of a whole system throughout Florida. So while patrons have expressed disappointment in going from Overdrive to exclusively Cloud Library, they've, you know, we acknowledge that that is a hard change, but at the same time, you're getting so much more. And we have Hoopla, so we're not completely without other platforms to explore. So we have both. I hope that answered your question.
There are no other comments that I see.
Thank you, Huey.
I didn't get in at the beginning, but going back to databases, do you have access to JAMA or JSTOR or Questia or?
We have access to a suite of ProQuest offerings, so you can do an academic search. We also have access to a couple of EBSCO databases. So it's the host. That's like the brand name is EBSCO and ProQuest. But those are through the state. So you're going to get really robust offerings through those two. And you'll find that on the website. If you have any questions about that, you can reach out to me and I can show it to you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Another question from the chat box is, any indication that we will be able to access Cloud Library with Kindle Paperwhite soon?
Yeah, I know that's a source of frustration for everyone, but Cloud Library is not the one holding that back. Amazon is actually. Amazon doesn't want to work with Cloud Library for that offering. So you can make a really loud noise, some big stink over at a link I can share with you all if you want to advocate for having that, because it's really Amazon that's holding that back. It's really not Cloud Library.
Time is now 7:30 and the library will be closing in 30 minutes. Patrons using their computers, please prepare your documents for printing at this time. All printing will need to be completed by 7:45. Computers will automatically shut down at 7:45. Thank you.
Sorry about that. We're in a library after all. STUG can make some noise to Amazon. That was in the comments. Thanks. We appreciate that. Yeah, that's the only downside. And we knew when we were working through this transition that that's what was going to happen, that there were going to be some folks that were sort of going to be left out of it, if I totally put it plainly. But I find that I listen to audiobooks more now than read. So that's an option too. There's just so many more audiobooks in there than there was in Cloud. And Hoopla too. You don't have to, there's no hold time. You just borrow it instantly. So there's less of a wait. But we can put those funds towards more materials. And that was really the ultimate goal, is saving and being good stewards of one set of money towards overdrive. So can I get my cue?
Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
This was terribly informative. We had a wonderful time tonight. Thank you. Of course, we have problems, but
Yeah,
I've never been to a tech meeting where there wasn't one.
that's right. Thank you all so much.
Thank you. And so let's give a big round of applause to Heather Gorman. Thank you. Before you take your computer away, let me just ask Huey.
Yes,
I don't think our winner for tonight is in this room, although I'm looking around. And I can't actually pronounce his name, but if Frank Rickorg is in the room with
he is
you.
online. He's online.
He's online. Is he with you online?
Frank Richburg.
Richburg. Did I get it wrong again? All right, Frank, you have won the grand prize for tonight, which is 1 year of free membership in STUG. And we will make sure that you get that information. We will get that information to Nancy Dennis, so she will know and give you an extended 1 year. From wherever you end, you get another year.
Thank you very much.
Well, you are
Tonight's
so welcome.
meeting was very informative. Thank you, Heather Gorman.
Thank you, Frank, and Heather standing right here hearing what you say. And if there's nothing else then to come before the meeting, I will adjourn it and say safe driving home. Thank you for coming.